Hello and welcome back, everyone, to a Nintendo Presents game on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, Super Mario World for the SNES. Yes, despite the fact that this is pretty much the game, one of the many different games that LPers are contractually obligated to do on their channels, this is the first time that we've actually done this, and the reason being is quite simple. I really like this game a lot, but I'm not all that good at it, so it took me a couple of years of practice in order to be comfortable with it.
Yeah. What pleasant music to start off.
Behold, we have made it to Dinosaur Land. Yes. And Princess Toadstool has been captured again. Because
Looks
this
like
is
Bowser
the
is
fourth
at it
time,
again.
technically, that Princess Toadstool has been captured by Bowser. Hey, Yoshi's house. Yeah, Yoshi is not here because he has also been captured by Bowser. So, one of the coolest things that Mario has access to for movement tech in this game is the spin jump. You can use it as an offensive jump, much like Mario's normal jump. But if you do so successfully, especially against Koopas and other normal enemies, you have the ability to obliterate them.
No, that bullet bill came quite
That
as
was
a
a
shocker.
bonsai bill, actually. Yeah, believe it or not, this is although this is supposed to be the first level of the game for a majority of people. This is not the first level that most people played. Most people actually play Yoshi's Island Yoshi's Island 2 as their first level, and I would argue that Yoshi's Island 2 is actually a significantly easier level than Yoshi's Island 1. But for most of Yoshi's Island, we get access to these hint blocks that will tell us, various things about the world that we're in and how to interact with it. It's very nice. For example, how to throw shells upwards. Boink. Yay!
One up. Oh boy.
Yay!
Nice. We jumped off
Damn
the
it.
bonsai bill. We got hit by our own shell.
Yeah, that happens more often than I want it to in this game. I do have some small criticisms when it comes to Super Mario World. The controls, although are very nice and smooth, are a tad slippery once you actually start doing running. And because of that, I end up, being less confident with the controls than I'm supposed to be.
All Looney Tunes.
So, for completing Yoshi's Island 1, we get access to our first Switch Palace. The Yellow Switch Palace is actually one of the more important Switch Palaces to do. Not only do you get a shit ton of coins, or at least the ability to collect a shit ton of coins, but the yellow switches, when you hit them, will actually spawn mushrooms for you. It is very nice. Or rather, the yellow switch blocks that we will see later on will spawn mushrooms for you. They will also act as platforms for Mario to stand on in later levels, or as a defensive platforms for Mario to delete some obstacles from later levels. The switch palaces are honestly extremely important, specifically the yellow and green ones, and we will be getting the yellow and green ones relatively close together. I'm not entirely sure if it's each world, but most of the worlds have a Switch Palace. Anyway, moving on to Yoshi's Island 2. This is where we get our first instance of 8 enemies all in a row that will allow us to get a 1-up for killing them all. Waha!
Nice.
And here is also where we are introduced to Yoshi. One of the more interesting things about a Super Mario World is how fast it actually goes through a majority of the tutorial stuff. Yes, this is how you're supposed to learn about the spin jump. Also, when Yoshi lands on a Koopa, he also obliterates them. Mind you, just Koopas. He will also do the same to other small, weaker enemies, but he cannot obliterate Charging Chucks. Charging Chuck is honestly one of the hardiest enemies in this game, and because of that, there are very few methods that Mario has access to in order to deal with them in a single shot. But yes, you can also dismount Yoshi in order to gain higher jumps. You are required to know about that specific ability later on for a secret exit. We'll get into secret exits when they become more important. And for eating a bunch of the fruit in the level, Yoshi has the ability to digest power-ups, if you will. Lucky guess on my end. Mwaha. But yes, Yoshi can eat a majority of the weaker enemies in the game as well. And every time Yoshi eats a weaker enemy, you actually get a coin for it. It's very nice. What we just showed off there was getting 30 star points. If you manage to go through the ticker tape at the end of a level, you score a certain number of star points. Annotations Gerdat here is attempting to denote that if you're ever low on lives, I personally recommend going to Yoshi's Island 2 because without the Dragon Coin, one up, you usually get anywhere between 2 and 3 lives per clear of it. And as it's the easiest level in the game, it's pretty simple to get that many lives for it. Especially if you manage to come in with a Yoshi, because then you'll get, additional lives that way.
Gotta rack up those lives.
You do need to rack up those lives because this game does something absolutely terrible. It does not remember your lives. It does not remember how many lives you have when you save the game. It is very, very stupid about it.
You mean just when you save, or when you try resuming the game, which is the point of saving the game?
When you resume from a save game, rather.
Good lord. I'm trying to think of other games that do that too. Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep, Sonic the Hedgehog also was guilty of that. Is that Sonic 3 let you record your progress, but it did not remember how many lives or continues you had going back into your file.
The combined Sonic 3 and Knuckles did, though, right?
Nope, none of them did.
Wow. I thought Sonic 3 and Knuckles at least did.
Well, because Sonic 3 and Knuckles use a similar save system and game engine as Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
So here we have one of the first levels where we actually have to deal with water. Mario's swimming specifically is actually palatable for the most part. He slows down quite a bit in it, or you could ignore the water entirely and just go into this pipe. And where we have to eat these cacti. Bunch of coins for us. Waha.
Alternate pathways. Nice.
Yes, Super Mario World is loaded with alternate pathways in majority of the levels. Now, there are specific levels later on that only have the one pathway, and the challenge is, dealing with all the obstacles in that pathway. But for a good portion of the game, every level has, upwards of 2 different pathways that you can take. And booyah! Our power star. Behold the power of slowdown. And for the record, this is not my emulator fucking this up. It is in fact supposed to slow down here because there's too much shit happening on the screen.
Yeah, it's the water waves graphics, because that's a pretty quick alternating shimmer there.
And yes, this is where you are supposed to get the tutorial for what cutting the tape does. Once we get 100 star points, we'll be able to show off that particular minigame. I think we'll actually show it off in this part, but I'm not sure. It's been a couple of months since I recorded this. So, our first Koopaling castle, Iggy. And yes, we're not allowed to take Yoshi into the castle. Bleh.
You just wait out here, Yoshi. We'll be back for you another time.
So, this is one of the few instances where we'll actually be using the climbing on the wire fence. Mostly because, for a majority of this level even, you don't actually have to do it. It's pretty superfluous. There are a couple of instances in later levels where you're definitely supposed to be climbing on the wire fences, but yeah, you don't actually need to do it for most of this level. Yes, if we manage to successfully defeat Iggy, we will rescue one of the Yoshi's friends.
Oh, now we're getting to the screen crusher.
Yes. For this one, thankfully, you can just hug the right side of the screen, and you'll be fine. Assuming that you can actually remember where the pits are, but for other instances of these screen crushers, they can be a rather stressful threat.
Whoa.
Like I
Don't
said,
try
Mr.
this at
Cloud,
home,
you
kids.
can just hug the screen and you'll be fine.
Oh, good lord. That was an abrupt transition to the boss.
Come on. Dang it.
Yeah, so you're supposed to jump on his head into... Oh, you're supposed to send the balls back at him?
No, you are actually supposed to jump on his head while the teeter-totter is in your favor in order to send him into the lava. I prefer to have Fire Flower for both this and the next time that we do this fight because all of the Koopalings fights we do twice. They are different Koopalings, though. But, yeah, as Annotation Gerdat mentions, I have problems with a couple of the Koopaling fights. Specifically, Wendy, I have huge issues with, and I think it's Wendy and Ludwig that I have the most problems with.
Together, they now travel to Donut
Land, also known as World 2. And our first instance of a secret exit. I don't think we're getting the secret exit here, though, are we? Because I am not going for a 96 exit run of this game. Very specifically because 96 exiting this game is definitely a thing I would like to have done, but it would have required me to actually know where all 96 exits actually are. We do get about 2/3 of the exits, though. Mostly because you have to get more than half the exits in order to actually beat the game. But also because I wanted to show off a decent amount of the extra content that's available for finding the secret exits. This is an interesting mini game in that it actually remembers which of the combinations you have successfully gotten lives from.
Get them in the right order. Nope. Well, we got one of them.
Yeah,
Nice.
We only got one, which is fine. And then, whoosh! Unfortunately, Yoshi is not actually able to climb up this pipe, so we have to leave him behind. Off the Yoshi. Off the Yoshi. I said off the Yoshi, dang it. Thank you.
That's funny. Oh, okay.
Alright. And this is where you're supposed to actually get comfortable with the cape feather specifically. You have the ability to ascend whilst using the cape feather by tapping back on the control stick in a rhythmic fashion. Yeah, you can get a shitload of coins in here if you want to. I do not want to at the moment because I'm actually trying to finish the level from here. We've not actually gone over the advantages of the cape feather yet. So, for starters, Mario now has the ability to do a cape spin attack, which is not like a Sonic spin attack, but it is effectively an extended melee attack that, because of its extended hitbox, is able to take down a majority of enemies in the game with a single shot. Yes, this is the hint that tells you that, hey, there are secret exits in this game. They are usually denoted by the red dots on a level on the world map. Super Mario World is very famous and well renowned for having a extremely good soundtrack. Anyway, moving into Donut Plains 2, our first underground/cave level.
And our second instance of the involuntary moving to the right gimmick.
Cloud, you can just call it an auto scroller.
Auto scrolling, thank you, right, because the screen scrolls like
automatically,
like a paper scroll.
So, there's an interesting tidbit that I'd like you to notice about the music, Mr. Cloud.
And what is that?
This theme that we're listening to now is a harsher rendition, very specifically, of the normal Super Mario World theme.
Very
Do do do.
Very subtle. Oh, right. Harsher because it's in a minor key. Got you. I love it when themes do that.
There it is.
And Mozart did that with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I think it was his, like, 9th or 10th variation.
Okay, and there it is. All right, grab the blue shell, and booyah! Yoshi now has the ability to fly. Different colored Koopa shells give Yoshi different abilities. Red gives him fireballs, yellow gives him a ground stomp, blue gives him wings, and green doesn't give him anything. He just spits it back out. So, what you're supposed to do in order to get the 1-up in this level is specifically press the button, then throw the red shell down so it actually hits both the kicker Koopa and the rest of them, then follow it through. I don't know how to do that, so oh well. Anyway, we've gotten the Green Switch Palace, which will enable the green switches and thereby allow us to collect cape feathers from Green Switch Palace from Green Switch blocks. In the next episode, we'll continue on with the rest of Donut Land. Be safe, everybody.